What is up, Maniacs? My name is Zach, and I am the Million Maker Maniac. Welcome to a Best Ball Mania draft that we are doing today. We're taking another shot at that $2 million first prize. Looks like we'll be drafting out of the 9 spot today. All right, my friends. So the 9 spot, hoping to get one of these 3 receivers coming up. If not, we'll either go Jonathan Taylor or Christian McCaffrey, but we're not going to get Jason. That would be awesome if we got him all the way there. But JSA and Amon St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, love to start with one of those receivers. If they're all gone, then we'll go CeeDee, Christian McCaffrey, but it looks like we'll get either CeeDee Lamb or Amon St. Brown. But we're going with CeeDee Lamb here. Build ourselves a potential Cowboy stack. Interesting, Justin Jefferson went quite early in this one. Most of the time he's going around this pick 10 or 11 in that ballpark, but he went pick number 5 in this draft. Would love for Genty to fall back to us or McCaffrey. It's pretty unlikely. There goes McCaffrey. Genty will probably be one of these 2 picks, would be my guess. Got a few CeeDee. Oh, going old school running backs. They're at the turn. Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry at the turn. So we still got hope for getting Genty. No, there he goes. So for me, the pick that I'm going to take here is actually Achane. I'm above market on De'Von Achane, but I think their O-line is actually pretty solid. He's going to be their primary receiver. I think Malik Willis is going to be much better than consensus does as well. So I actually like being able to stack him with Achane later. And I think he's one of the most dependable workhorses that's out there. So I like our start here with CeeDee Lamb and De'Von Achane. Actually was working on my running back rankings last night, looking on the website, did some comparisons between players trying to rank in that range. When we look at De'Von Achane for Saquon, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, the boom game percentage is what really jumps out to me. 34% boom game percentage, highest by far among all these guys in that range. Saquon, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown. He was RB5 last year. He's young. He's going into his year 24 season. He's just an explosive player. I think they're going to have to rely on him. The risk is as a smaller player, there does seem to be, I think there's a little bit more injury risk to consider, but that's really not a huge concern for me. So I think Achane should be ranked higher, definitely above Barkley, Walker, Chase Brown, all these guys, and from all the advanced metrics too. With the EPA per touch, he was really good. The only person beating him there is Walker. Walker did it on a lot less volume though. So I think Achane is a clear pick there. More elusive, higher, more advanced tackles. The only one that kind of jumps out in the advanced metrics is Kenneth Walker, but I still think Achane's going to get more of a heavy workload. So Achane above Walker for me. All right, we got our pick coming up here. All right, board's back up. So I would love to take Zay here if he falls. I'm really high on Zay this year. I have him ranked much higher than his ADP. I also consider Malik Neighbors here as kind of a fun Week 17 option against CeeDee Lamb if that game turns into a shootout, which definitely possibilities of that. Probably going to be nothing but receivers behind me because both guys have 2 running backs. Neighbors win, so we're going to go with Zay. We might take Javonte on the way back. Javonte in the 4th. We got that nice CeeDee and Javonte Williams stack there. Zay also gives us a really nice stacking opportunity to potentially get Lamar pick 57 when it comes all the way back around. Lamar's ADP is right there at 56, so it's possible that he comes back, but Lamar goes at pick 37, so that will not be happening in this draft. The 12th spot is jumping ADP quite a bit. I like it. Javonte does not get back to us. We got a 4 running back build there. All right, so we're going to go just a really strong receiver room, I think, here. I'm going to go ahead and take Ladd. Gives us another premium quarterback option to stack with. So we got Dak or Herbert that we can try to get later to stack with number one receiver. So I don't mind that. I would have rather had Javonte, I think, but CeeDee, Zay, and McConkey is a really nice start at wide receiver, to say the least. Interesting in the 11th spot, starting with 4 running backs, although a really solid 4 with McCaffrey, Genty, Etienne, and Williams. We'll see how they adjust their strategy. And then in the 12th spot, they went Barkley and Henry to start, 2 running backs that I'm fading. I'm getting more and more scared about fading these guys, but I think the age cliff is coming for them. Their teams would definitely rely on them, so we'll see if they're able to hold up for one last season or if Father Time catches up to one or both of them. But then matching up Josh Allen, who just seems like he's ranked way too highly for me or getting drafted way too highly. I'm not getting much Josh Allen at all. I think he should be going right around where Lamar goes, which is normally around 56 in that ballpark. I don't think there should be that big of a gap between the two, so I'm not getting much Josh Allen. He is my QB1, but ADP-wise, I have him about 15 spots behind ADP. It's hard to justify him being basically 2 full rounds ahead of any other quarterback. So we're going to be right in that sweet spot at running back here, more than likely. We got Travion Henderson, Bucky Irving, Quinshon Judkins, and Bashal Tootin. As you can see, I've got 59% Tootin so far in Best Ball Mania. It's in my first 27 drafts I've done. Really high on Tootin. I need to get a little bit more Bucky. I don't have him with any of the player combos that I have right now. So if Bucky falls to 0, probably take Bucky. There goes Tootin, so we don't even have a shot at Tootin here. Goes Judkins. So we might not get one of these running backs here. We'll see. Would like to get Bucky. No, there he goes. Okay, so really we're in we could take Jadarian Price, but I'd rather take one of these. Another stud wide receiver here. Christian Watson. So more than likely we won't get Dak if we don't take it with our next pick because the George Pickens drafter will have a shot to get him back before it comes back to us. So I'll probably get him at pick 78 would be my guess. So we want to take Dak with CeeDee. We got to do it here. I don't mind. I don't really love the running back depth here. We could go Tyler Warren at tight end, which is intriguing. Or we could go Price. I don't have any Price, and I'm just not really. I don't love it. I think that backfield's going to be split throughout the whole year. So if we go get Dak, we're quite a ways above ADP. We're just going to go Warren here. And we'll get our stack later, hopefully with Herbert at 81. McConkey, and then we can maybe get Jordan Love later. We can also get Malik Willis. And if we get lucky and Dak comes back to us, then we'll swoop it up. But pretty sure that Dak's going to go up pick 78 would be my guess with the Pickens drafter. Kind of go on a hero RB build. So far, we got CeeDee Lamb, De'Von Achane, Zay Flowers, Ladd McConkey, Christian Watson, and Tyler Warren. Warren also gives us another option at quarterback with Daniel Jones, coming off the Achilles injuries, but he's already been working in OTAs and everything's trending towards him starting week 1 of the season. So he could be a solid QB3 for a team. Quarterback's going off the board now. Daniels followed by Hurts and Drake May. So my game plan of running back, I'm definitely going to try to get Jonathan Brooks. I would love to get him at the 105, but I'm probably going to have to take him at 88 would be my guess. His current ADP is right at 105, so maybe we can give it a shot. See if he falls back to the 105. Mullenshew's coming up here to see if we got a shot at Dak. His ADP is right at 80, and pick 78 has Pickens, so more than likely that's where Dak will go. That drafter also does not have any quarterbacks to this point, so decent chance that we don't get Dak. We also lost out on Herbert there. Herbert went a little early at pick 75 to the 3 spot. They took QJ in the 6th and then took Herbert in the 7th. So another one of our stacks thwarted there. All right, here's pick 78. More than likely, there goes Dak. Let's see. Yep, there goes Dak. Okay, so we have got to regroup here. determine how we want to navigate this. Take Jayden Reed here. Try to get Jordan Love later. It's one of our stacks. If that doesn't happen, no worries. We're probably going to take naked Mahomes here at 88 if he's still there. Then we could add Worthy or Kelce later, or just have him naked. Mahomes was kind of low on Mahomes for a lot of best ball seasons so far, but the more I've dug into it and the more reports we're getting out of camp of him being healthy and already practicing at OTAs and more than likely starting week 1, he's just too good of a quarterback to be going this late, and he's going to have some weeks. So he's what we're going to hang our hat on here. If we can add some pieces to him, awesome. If not, he's okay naked as well. We just got a lot of good weapons on this team, guys that are going to score points, and he's one of those guys. He doesn't necessarily have to be correlated for him to be successful on our team, but we still have opportunity to backstack with possibly Worthy and Kelce later. We'd even add like a Tyquan Thornton late if we wanted to as well. Really hope it falls, but really want to get Jonathan Brooks here. We'll see how it falls. At quarterback, would love to be able to get Love to add on to our Packers stack, as well as Malik Willis. So go ahead and cue those guys up and then make decisions as it gets closer to us how we're going to take it here. Kind of got boxed out at quarterback there. We had a few different options to have some premium stacks that just didn't fall our way. Obviously, loved the Zay and Lamar connection, but Lamar went way early. And then Ladd and Herbert is another one that I really like, but Herbert went way above ADP in this draft as well. So that's just how it's going to fall sometimes. So we got to be able to build good teams, even if we can't get our premium stacks tied together like we would love to. CeeDee Lamb team without Dak Prescott can still win. Week 17, CeeDee Lamb could go for 150 and 2 touchdowns, and the Dak Prescott only throws for 250 yards and those 2 TDs. So Dak isn't the guy you need, but CeeDee Lamb is one of the premium guys you need. So there's plenty of weeks where that occurs. The stack can be nice when they have those huge boom games, but it doesn't always come through. So it's not the end of the world when we don't get our top guys stacked. There's still plenty of ways that we can win. Worthy goes off the board there, so we do lose out on that potential stack. And Brooks is still hanging on. We got a couple guys with 4 running backs in front of us. One more pick. Let's see if he gets there. Come on, give us Brooks. I feel a lot better about this team. All right, we lost out on Jordan Love, so yet another stack is gone. But we did get Brooks, so that makes me feel a lot better about this running back room. We got Achane and Brooks. We'll add some more pieces here late, but those are going to be our core guys. Definitely a pretty fragile running back room, but I feel really confident in Jonathan Brooks having a pretty big role right out of the gates in the beginning of the season. And then as the season goes on, his role expanding and him being a top 12 fantasy running back by the time we get into the best ball playoffs. I feel pretty strongly about that. So I like how that fell. Now, here, I decide what we want to do at quarterback. We could go and unstacked Stafford. Falling a little bit. His ADP is 103. This would be pick 112 if he's still there. I don't have much of that. I don't hate it on this team because I just got a lot of guys that are going to score points that are just uncorrelated. And I feel like Stafford can hit our lineup a decent amount of times. We could also take Kelce here. I really do want to get Willis, but he's not. His ADP is down to 131, so I want to try to get him at that 129. Stafford went there. We'll go Kelce here and then try to get Willis, and we'll come back. Hopefully we can get Daniel Jones as well. Tie him in with our Tyler Warren. It's not going to be an overly correlated team. We got a little stacked with Mahomes and Kelce. And then we'll try to get Achane stacked up with Willis with our next pick if Willis falls. And then hopefully at pick 136, we can also get Daniel Jones. So that's the game plan. So far, hasn't been falling really how we want, but that's all right. That's what we got to be able to adjust in these drafts. To win $2 million, it's not always going to fall your way. You got to be able to build the best possible lineup you can based on how the draft falls to you. And it's not always going to fall to you exactly how you want, but as it falls, we'll make adjustments and build the best team possible. So far on the team, we got CeeDee Lamb, De'Von Achane, Zay Flowers, McConkey, Christian Watson, Tyler Warren, Jayden Reed, Patrick Mahomes, Jonathan Brooks, Travis Kelce. So we're a little fragile and light at running back, but two guys that I do feel confident in. And then our wide receiver room is strong. We got 5 guys that you feel pretty confident in putting up consistent numbers, especially with Watson and Reed. Do you think those two guys will put together a lot of usable weeks that will work well for our team? And down weeks for Watson, Reed is more likely to have bigger games. They can ping pong off each other. So yeah, the wide receiver room looks really strong. Guys that should get a lot of volume, can be in our lineup week in, week out, and should help fill our flex. Feel strong at tight end with Tyler Warren. He's a guy that I don't get a ton of just because there's a lot of quarterbacks in that range that I am going at lots of times. So not getting as much of him as I really like. But I do think he has the opportunity to be an absolute stud this year. I think he's going to take up a lot of Michael Pittman's targets that are going to be vacated from him leaving and going to Pittsburgh. All right, so we're going to go Willis here if he continues to fall. Just got to get through one more guy. All right, so we did get Willis. I'm very high on Willis. Watched the film from all the games he played last year, and he's extremely athletic. He is going to get a ton of fantasy points on the ground. And he's a very accurate thrower of the football, I think. I mean, honestly, he reminded me a lot of Justin Fields. If Justin Fields could throw the football where he wanted to throw the football, I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on defenses. Yes, they do not have many weapons around him besides Achane, but I think that those two are going to do enough to keep those guys in games. I think that offensive line is pretty solid. And I think there's going to be some pieces that come out of Miami that surprise some people, but those two guys I think are going to have exceptional fantasy seasons kind of under the radar. So Jones's ADP is 145 or at 136 on our next pick. I don't really want to lock up the quarterback room with Jones and get a nice stack there with him and Warren. So I'm going to reach a little bit on Jones and just take him here. And then we can get a little bit of depth at running back with some dart throws here down the stretch. We're wrapped up at quarterback now. We got Mahomes, Malik Willis, and Daniel Jones as our quarterback room. And generally, I like to get somebody in this like sixth round range, like a James Daniels, a Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Drake May. But it just didn't fall that way in this draft. I kind of pushed the envelope trying to get either Herbert or Prescott to fall to us at pick 81, and it just didn't happen. So we had to scramble a little bit and go with the naked Mahomes. We did add a Kelce to him, so a little bit of a stack there. And then running back, we're solid. I feel good about Achane and Brooks as my RB1 and RB2. Feel really high on Brooks, probably a lot higher than most people do, so they're not going to be as comfortable with this build as I am. But we definitely need to get some guys that have some late season upside, guys that are going to be in position to have some usable weeks. Okay, we can't just have just 2 running backs, so we're going to have to see what we can find here in these next few rounds to piece together this running back room. Woody Marks would have to fall a decent amount to get to us, but he's a guy that I would be interested in. If he gets down to us, he's likely to have a role. And then obviously this contingent value if David Montgomery were to go down. Another guy that I'd be interested in that's coming up is Jonah Coleman. I feel very confident that he will get touches throughout the year. And if anything were to happen to J.K. Dobbins, which seems to be a pretty frequent occurrence for J.K. Dobbins, unfortunately, that Jonah Coleman would have the primary down running role. Like he would be the first and second down back. I think that RJ Harvey just is not a good interior runner and was awful in pass protection last year. Jonah Coleman is going to be better in all of those facets. So I think that he would just take over the J.K. Dobbins role if J.K. Dobbins went down. So those are the two guys I'm targeting here. Woody Marks, followed by Jonah Coleman. We'll see if it falls that way. There goes Coleman. See if we can get Marks to fall to us. Not a sexy pick, but a usable pick here if he can get to us. All right, Woody Marks it is. Again, I think he'll have some usable weeks. He's got contingent upside. So for this team, he makes sense. He can give us some value. If Brooks or Achane miss time, this team is probably in trouble unless we get lucky with one of these dart throws here where they get early season action. Might be my first Zach Charbonnet team. Don't have any Charbonnet in Best Ball Mania, but you would expect him to be a factor down the stretch in Seattle. You can also look at Tajay Spears here. I'm going to go with Charbonnet. I really do think that when he comes back, this coaching staff loves Charbonnet. And when he comes back, I think his role is going to be preserved. It'll be similar to what it was last year, maybe a little bit even heavier than what it was with Kenneth Walker there. Jadarian Price does not really concern me as somebody that's like going to just take that backfield and just dominate and run with it. I think he'll have his role early in the season, but I really think when it comes to like playoff time that they're going to be relying more on Charbonnet as they get closer to the playoffs. So two kind of unorthodox pieces for me. I'm not drafting much Woody Marks or Zach Charbonnet, but for this team, I think they're two of the best options left at running back on the board. So they give us some contingent value and some late season upside. And Charbonnet, I think, like as he gets healthy, his role will be in places what it was last year. So he could be a guy as we get into the best ball playoffs that can hit our lineup. Kind of up on our pick, the guy that's jumping out to me here is Sean Tucker, ADP at 176. We'd be taking him right at 177. So we'll see if he gets to us here. But I think he'll have a goal line role throughout the season and then has upside if Bucky were to get hurt to have an even larger role. So we'll go ahead and take Tucker here. I do think he'll have some usable weeks, even if everybody on that team stays healthy. So might be done at running back now. That gets us to 5 running backs, 5 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, and 3 quarterbacks. Need to add a few more receivers. Probably get away with just one more receiver, honestly, on this team with CeeDee Lamb, Zay Flowers, McConkey, Christian Watson, Jayden Reed. It's a really strong receiver room to start. We got Greg Dulcich here is our tight end 3, as well as a nice stack with Malik Willis. I do think that he's likely to be the highest target getter in Miami this year besides De'Von Achane. So we got who I believe are going to be the 2 highest target earners in Miami with the quarterback and Willis. So like that run out there. And they're obviously Achane's our second round pick, but the rest of the Dolphins are so cheap. And Willis, I really do think he is an absolute steal for fantasy football this year. So we need to go late round, wide receiver, and maybe one more running back. We could go wide receiver here. We'll see how it falls. Emmett Johnson gets to us at 201. We might add that. That'd be a nice step to add with Mahomes. Contingent value too. If Kenneth Walker were to go down, you could see how Emmett Johnson would step into a much bigger role and could have a lot of value down the stretch if that were to occur. So for this build with Mahomes, that can make sense, especially with kind of our shaky-ish running back room, at least running back 3 and beyond. That's one that can make sense if he falls. If he doesn't, I'll probably just go wide receiver, and call it good with the room as we have it. Another running back we could add super late is Jaden Blue in the last round, give us a little bit of correlation with CeeDee Lamb. But I still wanted to see more information come out. There's a little bit of a drumbeat talking about Blue, saying that basically he's made the improvements to be on the coach's good side this year. But yeah, I'd like to see more evidence of that before we invest too much in him. So Emmett Johnson does go off the board, so we will not be adding that to our running back room. Considering Malik Washington here, wide receiver for Miami, scored almost 100 fantasy points last year. Should be in a more prominent role this year. Obviously, it makes sense with our team. So we'll go ahead and add him, and we'll get basically all the targets for Miami. Team that not many people are targeting, and I don't want to be targeting them every draft, but I do think that they're going to outperform expectations this year. I believe in Malik Willis. I think he's just a good player, and he's going to pull that team up. I really believe that. I think I'm going to add Tyquan Thornton here. I don't have any Tyquan Thornton yet. Yeah, I just think there's solid potential for him to have some random big games throughout the year, especially if there were any injuries to Worthy or if Rice were to miss time. He would probably be the next guy up on being on the field. And the way our team is built, it's nice to have a little bit more of a stack with Mahomes. So I think it makes sense for this to be our first Tyquan Thornton. There it is, my friends. We went hero running back build, CeeDee Lamb with our first pick, followed by De'Von Achane, Zay Flowers, McConkey, Christian Watson, Tyler Warren, Jayden Reed, Patrick Mahomes, Jonathan Brooks, Travis Kelce, Malik Willis, Daniel Jones, Woody Marks, Zach Charbonnet, Sean Tucker, Greg Dulcich, Mike Washington, and Tyquan Thornton to round it out. That's what $2 million looks like, my friends. We'll check back in week 17 to make sure that I'm right. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up this week. I will start putting on my ranking videos. We're going to start with QB rankings, walk you through my rankings from 1 to 30 and why I have each of those guys there, walk you through my process and talk through all of it. Should be a fun episode, and we'll do that with running backs and wide receivers in chunks over the next few weeks as well. All right, my friends, as always, shoot me a message in Discord or leave me a comment. Happy to answer any questions. And sign up for all of our content at MillyMakerManiac.com. Thank you, my friends. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.